We are here with Samantha Goldfarb. Let's start with our presenter. Samantha is the current director of Training and Consultation Services for the ARC of New Jersey. She graduated with a bachelor's degree in psychology from the College of New Jersey in 2022. She has 7 years of experience working with people with IDD in a variety of roles and settings. Samantha is committed to fostering success in the field of supported employment by offering the highest quality support available to those receiving and providing this service. So this webinar today is a part of our series to get to know all of the programs at the ARC of New Jersey. And like I said, today we are going to be learning about the Training and Consultation Services. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Samantha. Thank you again so much, Samantha, for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Erin. So after that amazing introduction, I just want to remind everybody, my name is Samantha Goldfarb. I'm the Director of Training and Consultation Services for the ARC of New Jersey. And today's presentation is just labeled Introduction to TCS, Supports for Supported Employment. So before I'm able to actually go into the program, what I really want to talk about is what supported employment is. Because I think in order to understand the program that I get to run, we really have to understand what it is that I'm kind of focusing on and the types of things that I can help you with. So to start off with, what supported employment is overall. First of all, usually it's abbreviated to SE. So if I say SE during any point of the presentation, I'm referring to supported employment specifically. So overall, you can consider supported employment to be a service that makes work accessible to people with disabilities. Now, this can mean a lot of different things. We're going to go over some of the ways this comes to be. But this can look like providing different types of assistance with different parts of the employment process. So this can look like finding a career that suits you best. So doing a bunch of research and taking a look at the types of jobs that you're suited for in terms of what you're interested in, or what your skills really line up well with, the types of environments that you'd like to work on, etc. And then working in all these things with what your employment goals might be to find a job that suits you well, and then to go forward and take a look at what a career for you might look like in case you didn't want to stay in the same job for the rest of your professional career. They can also help with applications and interviews. So the actual process of applying to a specific job can be really complicated and have a whole bunch of little secret rules for getting a good success rate that can be a little bit difficult to find unless you have somebody helping you. So they can be really useful for that. So they can help put in an application itself, help you create a resume, a cover letter, and then practice for interviews so that when you go in there, you feel well and prepared. Then once the job is actually secured, people who help you with supported employment are going to help you learn how to do your job tasks. So you won't be alone just like the second that you get in there. Instead, it's kind of like you have an extra trainer who is able to help figure things out as you go, so that you're never really alone while you're figuring out what you're kind of trying to do at your job. And this goes along with developing job-related skills as well. There are a lot of different things that people don't always think of when it comes to employment, like that it's really important to know how to communicate, with your managers and your coworkers, how to be professional, how to be on time. And people who help you with supported employment can help you build those skills as well so that you're overall really successful. It can also help you create accommodations as well. So a lot of times people with disabilities won't be able to be as successful as they could in their job unless a few changes are made to make it easier for them to participate on the same level that people without disabilities would participate. So they can help kind of figure out what accommodations you might need and help you put them in place so that you could be your best self at work. And then the last thing on here is fostering job-related independence. A big part of most supported employment programs is helping people to become as independent as possible, so that in the future you may not need the person who's providing your supported employment, or you may need very limited support, because the idea is that you have enough skills to keep moving on your own, and you've gained sort of the ability to do that without another person's help. Or, potentially that you have, like I said, a less amount of assistance than you would before, just so that you can do as much as possible for yourself instead of having to rely on another person. So, how supported employment works is that you usually get one or more job coaches. So, a job coach is somebody who provides the supported employment service. They basically work with you, often in settings like a library or a cafe, or once you get a job in that place where you're working. And they can help you go through all of the steps that we talked about before. So, applying to jobs, looking at what jobs work well for you, going to interviews, learning your job tasks, etc. So, they stick with you until you don't need them as much anymore. So, if you are going to get supported employment, some things that you can go in and kind of expect for, your employment journey is that you would be going after your goals specifically. So, supported employment is what's considered a person-centered service. So, what this means is that you are at the center of everything. Your wants, your needs, those things are at the forefront. And so, your job coach should be centering your wants and needs when you're going on your employment journey. So they should be looking at what goals you have, what needs you have, what interests you have, and helping you figure out, what's the next best step for you. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to get your dream job right away, but they can help you set a path on your way to your dream job. Or if there's something that's really stuck in the way of the thing that you want to do most, getting you as close as possible. Also, job coaches should be providing you with respect, compassion, and full attention at all times. If there's a job coach who isn't treating you well, it's important that you pick up on this and that you tell somebody. Or if you think maybe that you're feeling uncomfortable about something, that you tell somebody so that they can help you get a different job coach or to work things out with your current one. And it's also important to note that when you're working, this is something that you're going to be taking responsibility for. So it's not that the job coach is going to be necessarily working with you, as in like doing your job. Instead, it's going to be you doing it and then them providing whatever assistance they can to you. So the assistance looks like helping you do your best instead of doing your job tasks at the same time. So at the end of the day, you're the one taking responsibility for the work, and you're the one reaping those benefits as well. So the type of work that you would do in supported employment, there's a bunch of different ways to describe it. Like I said, you're going after your goals and your interests. So really supported employment can look different for every person because it really depends on the industry and the type of position that the person wants to go for and is able to get. But overall, we can say that if you're going to go into supported employment, you'll be getting a type of job where you'll be working in such a position that people without disabilities are offered the same thing. So, you know, a job where they wouldn't offer it to a person without a disability and it's only a job for a person with a disability would not be considered what's called competitive, which means that other people are trying to get into a similar position or the same position. Uh, in supported employment, we're specifically looking for jobs that other people who don't have those disabilities are able to get, because we believe that if that's the type of work that you want to do, that you should be able to get it. Additionally, this will be work that takes place in the community, which is called integrated work. So instead of going to a place that's specifically for people with disabilities, or working in a place where they only hire people with disabilities for a specific job or in general, they want to see people working in different environments that anybody can go to, anybody can get hired in, anyone can participate in. There are some businesses that may be a better fit for you or that you're more interested in that don't follow these, and that's fine. There are other employment services that may be able to help you in that case. Additionally, the type of work that supported employment can give pays minimum wage or higher. So they're not looking for anything below minimum wage. They want to make sure that you're being paid the same amount as somebody who does your same work does. So that's part of that competitive component as well. Additionally, you'll be doing work that's safe and healthy for you. So you'll work closely with your job coach to make sure that whatever it is that you select, you're prepared for it, you're ready, you've got the skills that are able to do it, and that it's not going to be an unsafe environment for you. There may be times where it may be challenging and even a little uncomfortable, but if it gets too much, all you would have to do is talk to your job coach so that you can find something that works better for you. And ultimately, this is going to be work that's fulfilling to you and works towards your goals. Again, you're at the center of this. So if the person who you're working with, your job coach, isn't centering you, then something's going a little wrong here. If you're not completely fulfilled in the type of work that you're doing, then it may be time to look elsewhere into a different position, and your job coach can help with that. So how do you get supported employment? This really depends on the type of disability you have. So supported employment comes from a lot of different angles, and most of this comes from specific organizations within the government that can provide money so that you can get these services. So one of these programs is called DDD, or the Division of Developmental Disabilities. So people with developmental disabilities who have a specific set of needs which are assessed by the DDD's process, may be able to get funding for supported employment through them. If you don't qualify for DDD services, you may also be able to get supported employment through DVRS, which is the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation Services. And they provide support to anybody with any disability that impacts their employment in any way. However, even if you qualify for DDD, I should note, sometimes you may get that funding from DVRS in the beginning anyway. It really depends on the scenario, but just know that one or the other of these is going to be funding your services at any given time. And then there's also the Commission for the Blind and Visually Impaired, or CBVI. They are a part of DVRS that specifically works with people who are blind or visually impaired. So if that describes you, that may be a place where you get referred to for your supported employment budget. So once you're able to have the funding for supported employment, you'll do some research on different providers that can give supported employment, and then choose one. So, one example of a provider would be that at the ERIC of New Jersey, we have a program called Project Hire that provides supported employment services. So if you were to choose them, for example, they would go ahead and get money from these agencies so they can provide supported employment to you. So the process is a little bit complicated, but just know that these are some of the ways that you can go about that if this is important for you to know at the moment. So let's talk about also some options for supported employment, and I'm going to go over the ones specifically for DDD. And the reason for that is because my program is specifically connected and speaks on behalf and in collaboration with DDD. So I can't do as much to advise on DVRS and CBVI, but I can provide plenty of information on what DDD can offer. So you can consider this like a little sample of what you might be able to get. So one of these is individual employment support. So this is one-on-one support with a job coach. So you go and you meet with them, you talk about your needs, and then you move forward with the employment process. Then there's also small group employment support. So this works well for people who maybe have higher support needs or who need a little bit more support before going into individual employment support. So what this can look like is working in groups of people, so usually between 2 and 8, and working with one or more job coaches to do a specific type of tasks. You still take a look at, what jobs you want to get and what skills you want to build, and then you work with a crew that suits your needs and work alongside them as well. Now, with either of these, you may also get something called customized employment. So this is where you might have some specific needs in which a traditional hiring opportunity, doesn't give you everything that you need. Or that, you want to do something that's really specific, but there's not a job that is really written out so that you can do really what you want yet. So what your job coach would help you do is talk to somebody who would be employing you and say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is maybe what the business's needs are. Let's figure out a new job so that this person, it would be you in this case, can be as comfortable as possible and as fulfilled as possible as well, while also making sure that the business gets what they need as well. So everything gets tailored or created specifically to you and your needs. Like I said, this is just a snippet of what's possible. It really depends on where you get your supported employment from. So this is some examples from DDD. Okay, so I've given you guys a lot of information. You're probably a little confused as to why I said all of that when really what I'm here to talk about is my program, which is TCS. So let's talk about it. TCS stands for Training and Consultation Services. And the reason that like I said before a little bit, that I brought up so much about supported employment is because that's really what we're focused on. Supported employment is our bread and butter. So we don't work with any other services. So things like, rehabilitation or community-based supports, we don't do any of that. All of the support that we provide is just supported employment. And that allows us to have a nice specialization so that we can give as much accurate and focused information as possible. So some of the ways that we do this is we provide support for people receiving or providing the service. So this can look like, just like in our name, training or consultation, which I'll go into in a little bit more detail. But essentially, when I'm talking training, I'm saying that I'm going out to people, giving them a presentation, kind of like what we're doing now, but a little bit more interactive, and with some tools that I give them at the end so that they get that information and get a chance to practice with it. And then consultation is where somebody comes to me and we have a meeting. We talk about a more specific issue that they're having. So this is available for providers, so people who offer supported employment services like project hire, service users and advocates. So that would be people like you. So people with disabilities who are looking to get into supported employment, who are in supported employment, but who are struggling right now with one issue or the other. Advocates who are interested in supported employment for a family member or a friend, or somebody who just wants to learn more. And we also can provide it for employers as well. So we can go out to businesses and talk to them and say, hey, this is what supported employment looks like. This is what you can expect. And we can talk to them and see what their needs around supported employment are as well. Because employers are a big part of this process too. Then there's the service development side of things. So in this one, we're looking to really improve supported employment as a whole. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. That's one of our biggest goals. And make sure that when people are providing supported employment, that they're doing so in a manner that works best for you guys. So one of the ways that we do this is we assist DDD with supported employment compliance. So essentially, if there's something that's not going quite right in terms of how someone is providing supported employment, then we can go out to them and give them some training, get them up to speed, help figure out where the problem is so that DDD can kind of rest easy and know that there isn't going to be any issues going forward there. And also, TCS collaborates with state and national communities as well. So one of the things that I get to be involved with is an organization called APSE, or the Association for People in Employment, I believe, people in supporting employment. Actually, I can go ahead and get you a better acronym later if you'd like. But APSE is an incredible organization that works really for making sure that people have equal access to employment. So I get to work a lot with them, including the New Jersey branch, and the national group as well. So going to conferences and hearing what other people have to say to make sure that what we're doing in New Jersey is up to par and successful so that we're providing the best services possible. So like I said, we have an overarching goal here, and what it is that we're trying to improve supported employment overall. So this includes supported employment's outcomes. So we want to make sure that supported employment is as successful as possible. So this can be things like, increasing the amount of jobs that come out of supported employment, or, decreasing the amount of time that it takes for somebody to get a job. Job retention is really important too, how long somebody stays in a specific job. The longer somebody stays, the more likely it is that they're happy and satisfied there. And job satisfaction, going along with that is really important as well. Because if you're not happy where you are and comfortable with your position, then it's likely that it's not doing what it's supposed to for you, and that there might be better places where you could be spending your energy. So we want to make sure that all of these things look good, and we count that towards a positive outcome for supported employment. We also want to make sure that the experiences with supported employment themselves are good. So we want to make sure that when people are providing supported employment, that they're doing so in a way that works best for you guys. So we call that quality of care, in which the services that they're providing are the best that they can be. And we also want to make sure that your relationships between job coaches and clients, which would be you guys in this case, are good, so that you're satisfied with what you're receiving, and that you're comfortable with and can trust the job coaches that you work with. And the last part here is also sustainability. So we want to make sure that supported employment can continue, and that people will continue to invest in it. So we want to make sure that people know that it's important and useful. And in order for that to happen, we have to make sure that our outcomes and experiences are good. We also have to make sure that people who are doing supported employment are complying with the funding source where they're getting their money from, so like DDD or DVRS. And that's not something that you guys would worry about specifically. This would be more about the agency themselves working on that. And also making sure that relationships with employers are good too. So agencies have to work pretty hard to make sure that the employers that they help their clients get hired at, think of them well, and are being served by the types of things that they're doing as well. So that it's not just for you guys, although you guys are at the center of it, because at the end of the day, if the employer isn't happy, then nothing's going to continue. So how do we achieve this overall, trying to reach these goals? Better methods. So we're trying to make sure, as a group, not just TCS, but everyone who's working towards this is trying to make sure that we have the best methods possible. So what this looks like is the most successful and respectful ways to provide supported employment. We want them to be effective. We want them to be able to treat you well. We want you to be satisfied with everything that happens. And we want to make sure that at the end of the day, they get what needs to get done as well. Additionally, more resources, so making things easier and more comfortable for people to be providing supported employment. Because, providers are people too, and, sometimes people take little shortcuts at times if they have stress in their other lives or other things like that, which can lead to a decrease in the quality of the service that you're getting. And we don't want to see that. We want to make sure that you guys get the best services possible at all times. So having more resources, more tools that can help, make it easier, make sure that as much energy as possible goes to you guys. And then another thing is better understanding. So we're trying to increase the amount of communication between providers and the people receiving services, so like you guys. So we want to make sure that providers understand the needs and abilities and the potential that you guys all have, so that they're not underestimating you, so that they understand that your needs and your interests and your goals are very important, and they need to respect that as well. And make sure that they're doing things that, again, are safe and satisfying for you guys as well. We also want to make sure that service users understand providers and what good supported employment looks like we talked about, so that whatever happens, if something isn't going quite right, and you can tell somebody so that you can get the services that you need. So what is TCS specifically doing to contribute to that? So what our main focus is on right now, but we're hoping to change this a little bit in the future, is provider support. So essentially what I mainly do is I get to go out, like I said, and give trainings and provide consultation to a lot of these providers to make sure that supported employment that they're giving out is as good as possible. So best practice information is getting to them through the trainings and the consultations. And this is for everyone in the agency. I've had higher level managers come in. I've had the job coaches themselves come in. I've had people in the middle. It's really whoever needs to learn more is going to be able to come in. We have different trainings that can help with different situations. Best practice in this case indicates the best methods that supported employment providers should be doing so that you can get exactly what you need out of the service. And this best practice information is generally compiled in a lot of ways in order to make sure that, again, it's as well-rounded as possible. So one of these is self-advocate input. So people who have gone through supported employment, speaking up and talking about what works for them, what hasn't worked for them, what they've enjoyed, what they haven't liked, so that we know specifically how to make sure that it works the best for the rest of the community. Then there's scientific research. There's a whole area of research on vocational rehabilitation, which is highly related to supported employment. So vocational in this case, talking about jobs, and rehabilitation, talking about getting people back up to speed. So that field of study has been really helpful in helping people who provide supported employment do the best possible because that goes into a lot of the data and hard evidence instead of just hearing from stories and personal experience, which are very useful, but it provides a different angle that gives a lot of really good information. And then dialogue with professionals. So like I said, TCS is really connected with other organizations in New Jersey and nationally that are also working towards supported employment to make sure that this information is what other states are doing, or sometimes even what other countries are doing, so that we know if anybody does something better than what we're currently doing, that we can adopt that just like that, so that you can get it as soon as possible. We also provide tools, resources, and activities to make these best practices easier to implement. So again, we want to make sure that everything is as simple and as possible, I guess you could say. So if somebody's not having an easy time with a specific concept, or if they would just need a little support one day more than another, then the types of resources that we can give them can help kind of patch things up. And this can look like worksheets that they can do with you guys, presentations that they can use for more information, places to do more learning and research, online tools that are really useful and that other people in the field use as well, and specific interactive tools like we have a dress-up game so that people can help their clients learn how to use appropriate clothing and specifically for interviews to make it a little easier to teach and to give a little more structure around that too. So if any of that sounds interesting, by the way, and you want to see what supported employment providers are actually getting from TCS, you can always reach out and I'm more than happy to show off any information and talk to you guys more about it. I am going to get a little bit more about what we can do for you guys in one sec, so just hold on for that. And additionally, if staff members are struggling or if there's a specific challenge that an agency is facing, like I mentioned before, we have one-to-one support or small group support where they can come to me and we can kind of figure these things out together as a group so that it doesn't impact you guys to a negative level at all. And if there is a problem, that we can sort it out before it gets too bad. So what I want to pivot to now is what I just alluded to, which was how we can specifically support you and what TCS can, offer to make sure that supported employment is as accessible as possible for you as well. So what we can offer, one example is training. So as in our name, it's a big part of what we do. So we can provide training on, any topics that are still compliant with what DDD requests from supported employment, but specifically, helps you learn what supported employment can do for you or to, make the service easier or better to receive. So I have some examples on here of just some trainings that might be useful to people. What to expect from job coaches. So, what a good job coach looks like so that you know what poor service looks like so that you can tell someone. How to navigate the DDD supported employment system. This is really complicated, and I get a lot of phone calls about this where people are like, I'm not quite sure what I'm supposed to be doing. So we can provide training on that as well, and this can be for you or another advocate to kind of help you through that system as well. And also navigating the community so that you know what's available for you in terms of employment. A lot of people find the most employment success and satisfaction by going to places, in their neighborhoods or, close by their homes or places where they've, grown up going to, because they've created relationships there, they feel comfortable there, and because of that, they're able to explore more of their abilities by using these connections. So, talking about how to develop those to make supported employment easier, that's something that we can do. And, this is just the beginning. These are just some things that I came up with off the top of my head. If you guys want, you can always reach out to me and say, hey, I want a training on this. And then I'll work with you to make sure that it meets your needs. I'll come up with it and then I'll present it to you. If, you need specific accommodations to make it easier for you. So if it needs to be virtual rather than in person, you need captions, you need me to slow down, you need me to read off every slide and explain what's on there, full customization is something that we're able to offer. Again, we want to make sure that everything is as suitable for you as possible. Then there's the consultation aspect. So if you're struggling with a specific part of supported employment, or you just have some questions and you really want to talk to someone about it, you can talk to me. So you can reach out and we can talk about whatever it is that's kind of causing you trouble in this instance. And the last thing is tools and resources. So if there's something that people are struggling with, whether it's one person or 100, we can create a specific tool or a compilation of resources or other materials that can help you with whatever that situation may be. In order to make sure that at the end of the day, supported employment is as easy to navigate for you as possible. And like I said, this is really just the beginning. The big thing to really take away here is that TCS is here to help you. So whatever we can do in the realm of supported employment, we want to. So please don't hesitate to reach out. And even if that's just to let us know kind of what's going on in terms of, your struggles with supported employment or your successes, or just general information. You can look for information or you can provide us with some. If you feel like somebody should hear about your specific experiences in that realm. So reach out if you want any of our services. If you have any specific concerns that you need to talk to someone about, if you want to share your ideas and insight, you're like, hey, I think this would be a great idea, but I don't, my job coach isn't implementing it, or I don't see any other agencies implementing it. What can we do? Any specific needs that aren't being met, or any trends that we should be aware of. It's really important, again, that we're just kind of keeping tabs on how everything's going. So if you feel so inclined, feel free to share any of that information with us, and always reach out if there's anything at all that we can do. So at this point, I'd like to pause for any questions just to make sure that I didn't miss anybody. Before transitioning over to the slide where you can receive my contact information.
I don't see any in the box, but feel free again to use either the chat box or the Q&A box if you have any questions.
Absolutely. And if you'd prefer to ask me any questions, after the fact, this is my contact information right here on the side. So again, my name is Samantha Goldfarb. My cell phone number, or not my cell phone number, I apologize. My work number is 732-748-8434. And my email is sgoldfarb@arcnj.org. So feel free to reach out to me in any of these ways if you have any questions or anything that TCS can do for you. Thank you, everybody, so much for having me and letting me share my information with you today. If there's anything else I can do, please definitely let me know.
Thank you so much, Samantha. That was amazing. I so appreciate you coming on here and talking about your program and everything you do. I also want to highlight that you have a wonderful newsletter that people can sign up for, as well as you have initiated office hours. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, they can do that as well. So thank you so much, Samantha. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. This will be available on our website and on our YouTube in a few days. So if you would like to rewatch it, you can do that then. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.